Na oder vabim našo svetovalko, vodjo področja zdravstva v GS1 Slovenija, Marijo Groznik Stanković. Marija, že dolgo se v GS1 Slovenija ukvarjamo z zdravstvom. Našo aktivnost so že davno prepoznali tudi na sedežu globalne organizacije. Žal pa še ne toliko, kakor bi si želeli tudi na nacionalnem nivoju. Pri označevanju zdravil pa verjetno ni bilo tako. Kako je z novostmi na področju zdravstva? Kaj nam kaže prihodnost?
Tako je, Ira, hvala za besedo. Slovenija je na področju zdravstva namreč prva država, ne samo v Evropi, ampak tudi na svetu, kjer se je zavedanje koristnosti globalne identifikacije in GS1 začela že zelo kmalu. Namreč že leta 1996 je slovenski zdravstveni regulator, Javna agencija za zdravila in medicinske pripomočke, predpisala obvezno označevanje zdravil z GS1. Na to je linearna koda dominirala več kot desetletje. Prava evolucija kodnih simbolov na področju zdravstva se je pa začela leta 2008 in spet je bil iniciator regulator, ko je slovenska farmacevtska industrija, spet moram poudariti prva na svetu, med prvimi pričela prehajati iz linearne na 2D kode. No, večji zagon uporabi 2D kod je dodala 2019 evropska zakonodaja proti ponarejanju zdravil, ki zahteva uporabo GS1 DataMatrixa in na to še lani evropske uredbe UDI. Tako da ja, razvoj gre hitro naprej, na vidiku sta že QR koda in GS1 Digital Link, o katerem boste v prihodnje še veliko slišali.
Marija, seveda se ne moremo izogniti epidemiji covida, kamor je globalna organizacija GS1 vstopila z rešitvijo, ki zagotavlja natančno sledljivost, distribucijo cepiv, onemogoča se ponaredke in tako se zagotavlja večja varnost pacientov.
Drži, tudi mi v Sloveniji, GS1 Slovenija, nismo držali križem rok in smo to globalno rešitev posredovali našim odločevalcem v zdravstvu. Žal v Sloveniji ta trenutek očitno še ni posluha za to, zato si sedaj poglejmo, kako so to naredili naši kolegi na Irskem. Z nami je gospa Amanda Creane.
So hello everybody, my name is Amanda Creane and I'm the Healthcare Manager at GS1 Ireland. I am excited to share with you an overview of what has been keeping us very busy here in GS1 Ireland for the past 12 months, keeping track of the COVID-19 vaccine Ireland story. So first, to set the scene in a general sense, the pandemic has been a catalyst for change. We have seen the rapid accelerated development and rollout of new digital solutions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic that could never have been imagined at that pace before. And it is clear that standards, particularly identification and traceability standards, have a huge part to play, benefiting supply chains as a whole, but more specific to healthcare, enabling safer, more efficient care. So I will dive straight in and tell you about how we ended up designing and rolling out a system for tracking vaccine in our mass vaccination centres in Ireland. Our national public health provider, the Health Service Executive, were tasked with the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine to our population. In December 2020, they procured a new national system for managing vaccination records. But they needed guidance on the use of traceability and identification standards. Here, the opportunity presented and GS1 Ireland stepped in with an offer of support which was accepted. We are in this position as a trusted advisor, largely due to the work of the healthcare team at GS1 Ireland in positioning the value of GS1 standards to the healthcare community in Ireland. From this, the HSE, in collaboration with GS1 Ireland, adopted a GS1 standards-based approach for the identification and tracking of vaccines to the point of vaccination. The result of these ongoing intensive design phases with the HSE project team were two software applications named ScanVax and TrackVax. So the first stage of the process was the development of ScanVax. At the start of the program, when the vulnerable and healthcare workers were being vaccinated, batch and expiry information was being keyed into the national system manually. This was a very time-consuming task, which was prone to error and not sustainable as vaccines were to be rolled out to the full population. As a result of the EU's Falsified Medicines Directive, so FMD, manufacturers of prescription medicines, including vaccines, are required to assign a 2D data matrix barcode on the secondary packaging of the product, which means traceability data can be captured in one scan. The GS1 Ireland provided ScanVax to get over this manual keying in of data. So this was developed and installed on over 1,000 PCs across the country to allow for the receipt of vaccinations to locations. So this is done, as you can see on the diagram here on the slide, by scanning the barcode on each of the vaccine boxes. From this, vaccine information is then uploaded via an API to the National Vaccine Administration System. And what this means is that vaccinators can select the correct batch when administering the vaccine. Then came the real challenge. So the evolving situation with the pandemic meant there was a race to get people vaccinated in a timely but safe manner. And as COVID-19 vaccines became available, Ireland's Health Service Executive COVID-19 vaccination planning teams worked intensively on the design of purpose-built centralised vaccination clinics. And as a part of this design phase, it was agreed that a standardised vial label was required to remove the non-standardised, time-consuming, prone to error process of handwriting labels, which you can see here on the slide. And given the time constraints, GS1 Ireland was asked to provide the software to print these labels with a barcode added so that there's a potential to scan at the point of vaccination. However, the overall task was complex and multidimensional. Questions included how to view inventory levels both nationally and locally, how to manage the cold chain, dynamic expiry dates, how to manage a complicated process with staff shortages and changing staff. It was also critical for the HSE's National Immunisation Office that no dose was wasted and the batches of vaccine could be tracked to the point of vaccination for full accountability and oversight of every dose. It was identified that they needed an efficient and effective way of receiving, administering, tracking and reporting vaccinations across the more than 40 centralised vaccination clinics. So this label printing software ultimately evolved to become TrackVax, a full track and trace software to identify, label, track and report on the COVID-19 vaccines in the vaccination centres across Ireland. So our team in GS1 Ireland was in a unique position to advise on the traceability elements of the project, as well as develop the software. And this software was designed around the medication management process. And the most important thing was that the users, the pharmacists, were involved in the design from the start. This was really key to the success of the project. So this diagram shows a process flow of the use of TrackVax within one of these centralized or mass vaccination centers. You can see on the top line in navy how the vaccine moves through the center from the dispensary area to the vaccination booth, then empty vials return to be reconciled at the end of day. Doses are recorded and compared against the National Vaccination Administration System as a quality check. Without TrackVax, this would have been a paper-heavy, manual, time-consuming task, which would have been very prone to error, particularly in such a high-pressure environment. We now know that at the busiest time of the rollout, there was an average of 8 patients being vaccinated per minute in one of the larger centres. So to take you through this process step by step, the first step in managing vaccines in TrackVax is to receive the vaccine into the fridge, into stock in the fridge upon delivery. And this is done similar to what I explained earlier in ScanVax by scanning the manufacturer's barcode on the secondary packaging. There is a dashboard for each center on TrackVax where they can view their stock figure. Next, when the vaccine is ready to be dispensed or supplied to the vaccination booths, the secondary packaging is removed from the fridge and scanned. The vaccines have very specific cold chain requirements, and once a vial is punctured or removed from the fridge for use, there is a new discard time which must be calculated. So the system calculates this, and this information is captured in a new label, which I showed you on a previous slide, which includes a barcode which travels with the vial as it moves to the vaccination booth. The number of vaccines out in the clinic can be easily viewed on the TrackVax dashboard. There is an option to record which vaccination booth in the center which a vial or tray is being sent to by issuing it to a particular bay number. This is particularly useful in managing vaccines which may be close to approaching their discard time. This is also identifiable by a warning given on the CVC TrackVax dashboard. And this means the action can be taken quickly to identify, find, and use these doses before other doses, which may have longer left. Once a vial or tray has been consumed, it is returned, as I said, for reconciliation. So by scanning the barcode on the label, the operator is prompted to record that yield, and they must also record any reasons for discards. So all of this information is recorded in local reports and at the end of day report. So the person who is responsible for medication management in the vaccination center will record this end of session report and identify if there are any discrepancies between the number of doses recorded in the National Administration records and what was recorded in TrackVax. So this, as I said, acts as an additional quality check. All of this information is also fed into national reports, where the National Immunization Office and those who are responsible for supplying and scheduling have visibility of stock at hand, expiry information, and also the usage and yields at centres. This has been invaluable in identifying potential issues. An example of this is where early on in the process, an estimated 75,000 doses were saved based on the early detection of a discrepancy on vial yield due to the type of syringes being used. So the benefits have been huge. As I said on previous slides, the example which we see here between the handwritten label versus the printed label with the barcode is just much quicker and safer. It's easier for staff. The process is standardized across all centers. And as this data capture is automated, there is an excellent availability of accurate data which can be used. And here we can see also an example of what paper-based tracking, a handwritten batch report would have looked like before TrackVax versus electronic tracking using TrackVax, which I really think tells the story of itself in the picture. So overall, their software, which we co-designed with the health service executive and their National Immunization Office, has used GS1 standards as an enabler for safer medication management and more efficient vaccine reconciliation. There have been significant time savings, medication safety benefits, and data quality improvements through using a standardized and repeatable process at all sites. And feedback from the sites has been so positive, with staff who were moving at the height of the rollout saying that they wouldn't go to another vaccination centre unless it had TrackVax. So the key takeaway and lessons learned has been the importance of having the network and the connections, listening to their needs, and the ability to be able to prototype really quickly, which has served us very well. I would like to highlight that this was an external collaboration with the HSC's National Immunisation Office. It was a huge team effort from many organisations within the HSC and externally. There was also a huge effort needed by GS1 Ireland, and all the team were on hand to help when needed. We are currently on our 5th release of our software, at which we must quickly adapt in an agile manner to respond to the changing requirements in the vaccination program. Everyone has played their part in the success of their program, and particular thanks to our CEO, Mike Byrne, and our board at GS1 Ireland for their continued support. And in particular, Dennis O'Brien, the Director of Standards and Solutions at GS1 Ireland, who has developed this software, and also my colleague, Siobhan Duggan, the Director of Healthcare and Innovation, who has played a major part in the success of this project. So to close, I would like to reference this quote from one of our members of our parliament, which we call our TDs. But so our national vaccination program, much criticized in some quarters only a few months ago, has proven to be one of the most efficient in the world. So to provide even a small difference to make the jobs of those administering the vaccines easier and safer as a continued fight against COVID-19 in our country is something that I am very proud of our team for. So hopefully I can get this right. Hvala, I'm trying to say thank you in Slovenian in case that is completely wrong. But there is a case study available on our website, and also a video coming soon, which my colleagues in Slovenia can share with you. And thank you for your time, and I hope to be able to join you all in Slovenia, hopefully in the future.
Tako, hvala Amandi. Videli in slišali smo, kako so to naredili na Irskem. Kako hitro so se vse dogovorili. Želela bi si, da je tako tudi v Sloveniji, a upanje še vedno ostaja, saj nimamo samo covida in cepljenja proti covidu, imamo celo vrsto še drugih cepljenj, tako da upanje res obstaja. Amanda je pa poudarila, da, in z njo se seveda v celoti strinjam, da je zmagovalna kombinacija sestavljena iz 3 ključnih spojin. Globalnih standardov, uporabe globalnih standardov, moderne tehnologije in seveda z veliko sodelovanja. S tem zaključujem in najlepša hvala za vašo pozornost in vračam besedo Iri.